knows, really. So there's a name that most Red Sox fans probably haven't heard, and if they have, probably not a lot about. So someone to watch for in the coming years.
Another guy that's not exactly a minor leaguer that we still have in our system is Brandon Phillips. Over his last 10 games, he's hitting .421. His average overall in Pawtucket is .298 with a .348 OBP. He's hit 2 home runs, driven in 20. And I'm just wondering, like, if they might try him out at third base down there in Pawtucket.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he's going to come up in September. There's a reason they haven't been bringing him up. They're letting him get acclimated and get used to it. I mean, at one point, his first 10 games, he's batting like 180. Right. So he's gotten better, and I think we knew that was going to happen with time. But I think you're going to see him with the September call-ups, and if he can show that he can still play at a major league level, defensively and offensively, he will stick around for the playoffs. You know, we're probably going to carry 3 catchers at the end of the day, but, you know, maybe a guy like Devers, he's not going to get left off postseason roster, let's be real. But you know, a guy in the bullpen might get pushed out, which would be fine. Maybe a Pomeranz, for example, would be someone that I would love to get rid of for the postseason roster and keep a Brandon Phillips on there for multiple reasons. You know, he can play second. Maybe he can play third. He can come in and pinch run if you need him to. If you got a slow guy there, you know, someone that you trust. So I would like it.
The Pomeranz has no room on this playoff roster. He hasn't shown me anything. You know, everybody that listens to the podcast regularly knows how I feel.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in baseball, it's kind of, what have you done for me lately? And Pomeranz hasn't done anything for a year and a half.
I don't think they'll take a reliever off the roster, though, for a position player. You know,
but he would be a defensive replacement and good to have in October.
Yeah, he would, and that's what I'm just trying to figure out. Maybe if he ends up being an impact guy, then the only one I could think of that could be the odd man out maybe would be Steve Pearce. And look at it this way. From left to right in the infield, you know, if you had Phillips at third, Bogarts at short, Kinsler at second, and then Moreland for the most part at first base, that's
stout.
As good as you can get almost for a defensive infield. And then, you know, if you're worried about Moreland getting too many starts and he needs a rest, well, that's when you could put Swihart at first base and, you know, just to, you know, give Moreland a rest and also kind of keep Swihart's bat swinging, you know, at a good clip. And, you know, I like Steve Pearce, and his numbers are really robust right now in the games that he does play. But, man, Brandon Phillips, like, he hit .285 last year. It's insane that nobody picked him up. And
yeah,
it's kind of suspicious, honestly. Like, it's crazy.
Well, it's a trend.
Yeah, it is a trend. We talked about that last show. Where, you know, it's getting younger.
Yeah, they just don't want to pay the older guys, you know, because they expect to still make 10 to 20 million or whatever, you know, like they had been. And teams are just more economic with their payroll, and they just don't want to do it. So Joey Bats, like I mentioned last episode, was willing to take a low level contract, and, you know, just so he could play. So that might be the new thing, you know, that might be the new trend going forward. I'm trying to think, like, I don't think Hanley Ramirez will get paid more than $5 million next year if he's brought back.
He'll get paid a couple mil, probably league minimum or something like that. It's a smart move by the vets, because if you do have one good year with that at $2 million, you know, you could get signed to a $7 million 1 year deal the next year if you impress. But as for Brendan Phillips, I would love to have him on the roster, but you'd be absolutely crazy to take Steve Pearce off and keep him off the postseason roster. Not only is he a Yankee killer, the guy's a legitimate power hitter against lefties this year and will be your number 3 hitter against lefties in the playoffs, and plays a good first base and can shift into the outfield if you need him to for whatever reason. So Moreland doesn't hit lefties well. Steve Pearce is a legit power bat. And I know his name's not sexy. I know his career numbers aren't 400, but his career numbers against lefties, I think he's around 300. And this year, he is just mashing. So I would keep Pearce over a couple different guys on the roster. I would borderline keep Pearce over Devers on this roster, to be completely honest with you, when it comes to the postseason. And I love Devers, but he can play 4 possessions, and against lefties, where this team struggles, he shines. Pearce is going to be a huge name in the playoffs for the Red Sox this year.
Well, it just depends on what the Red Sox value. If it is defense, then who knows. Nunez, he's cheap and controllable. If he has a bad September, maybe he gets DFA'd. I don't know. Brock Holt, great depth guy as far as him being able to play literally every position except catcher. I can't see him getting DFA'd.
He's played catcher.
Has he?
Yeah, he played catcher, I think, 2 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so he plays every position. So I don't know. I mean, it would have to be Pierce, I think. But or maybe Phillips just doesn't work out. But I'm just trying to find a way to put him on there. But
yeah, Swihart can play third. He played it. He's shown he's an athlete. He's played it there, and I'm okay with that. Nunez has been better over there than second, and at the end of the day, this team isn't struggling defensively. We're not a bottom tier team, and we're not struggling offensively at all. So Phillips may not even sniff the postseason roster. To be honest, he might be there in case there's a long-term injury, or he was just kind of a fail-safe plan, a shot in the dark, low risk, high reward. Adam Lynn was someone else that we had signed this year that we released already. I don't know if Red Sox fans even know that. So
yeah,
it happens. They come and go all the time. Those older players that are just looking for somewhere to play. But the roster, I think it's pretty set what you're looking at right now, minus a few surprises like a Phillips. But I wouldn't see anyone, even a Nunez, who I'm not even a big fan of, but I don't think he gets DFA'd or anything like that just because of his value at second and third base and at the bottom of the lineup. Who would you have? Now, if Phillips comes up in September and bats 280 like he did last year, get Nunez out of my face, absolutely. But if he comes up and bats 230 and is looking shaky, there's no point to having him.
Well, you'd have to DFA him though, or get him to agree to a phantom injury and then sit out the rest of the year. But also keep in mind, Phillips is here right now because he had basically 2 epic games, and then he's been okay other than those games. He had like a 6 or 7 RBI game against the Yankees, and or maybe they both were against the Yankees actually. Pierce, yeah. And then so if Phillips comes up and has a similar 2 or 3 games where he's just absolutely lights out at the plate, then that's how he forces his way on, and so, but it's way too early, and we're talking about a guy, I guess, that at the end of the day still is in Pawtucket. So yeah, so let's
preview.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I keep trying to keep this in the first hour, but it doesn't work out that way. All right, so let's go.
We're 55 minutes earlier, and I was like, we are rolling.
Yeah, we're doing really well. One more thing on Steve Pearce, though. This year against lefties, he has 71 at bats. He's batting .338. So I don't think it's a couple good games against the Yankees type thing. And to put it in perspective, against righties, he has 79 at bats and he's batting .266. So yeah, he absolutely mashes lefties. So I think he's. I just don't even think you could even take him. Take him off the roster. Yeah, I just don't even think it's like a conversation.
I would rather have him on the roster than Brock Holt.
Yeah, in the playoffs, 100%. Yeah. Because I love Brock Holt too. Another guy who can play every position. When he
never
gets,
know when
Brock's
going to get vertigo either. So.
Yeah, that too. But on the year he's batting .296, Pierce. But against lefties, he's a legitimate threat. And the fact that he can play 4 positions is pretty big.
Yeah, he's got 6 home runs and 15 RBIs, and the bulk of that was in the series I was talking about. runs scored 15. Yeah, so I mean he's all right, but I don't know. I mean, if we're definitely going to play the Yankees in the ALDS, then yeah, I could see why he would be borderline untouchable. But I mean, most of his damage I felt like did come in that series.
So big series. What's game one? Porcello Kluber.
Yes, Porcello Kluber. I'll be at the game, which means probably a big fat L. So sorry in advance.
They lost the last one that you were there, right?
I think they ended up winning, but it was an ugly win. I'm like I don't know, 3-4 this year.
Was it a price start, or was that Terry?
I was at a price start. I was at a price start, and they won.
Yeah, that was fair.
They lost 3 in a row though on me going into that, and one was also the night before in that sales start against Covey that we were talking about. So I'm not the best luck either. You won't see me at a playoff game. So
yeah,
good.
I know. I'm debating if I want to go to a playoff game at this point.
Barring the upcoming series against another Indian series and the Yankee series, this is the biggest series of the season so far.
Especially for
out
the
of
bats.
division.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not a Yankee series.
Yeah. This in the Houston one earlier that we split, and it was a big split because we went down 0-2 quick, and then we won 2 in a row, so that was big. But this is big. I expect a split at bare minimum, but the way the roster's set, we could take 3 out of 4 here, but I expect 2 out of 4, and I think it will be that. And I think that this first game is big because I think they win the first game just because of how good Kluber's been. But if Porcello outpitches them, I think the Eovaldi start, you get a win, and then they got a couple guys with over 4 ERAs that they're throwing this series. So you get a chance to run away with it if you can get a win tomorrow.
If Cleveland's going to split, or let's put it this way, if Cleveland's going to win the series, right, they have to win both of the first 2 games. Because I think we're going to just shellac them the last 2 games. So I think games 1 and 2 are really big for getting a series win.
I just lost the matchups. The marquee matchup is definitely game 1, with Porcello and Kluber. So, and the big thing here isn't just
Eovaldi Carrasco, right?
I don't know if that's a marquee matchup, but I mean it's definitely a big one because.
No, I'm just saying that's game 2, right?
Actually, I closed out of my thing. I'm sorry.
I believe that was game 3. I can pull it up really quick though.
My fault.
I think Dave's right. Actually,
they understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's so we got Porcello Kluber game 1. Game 2 is Eovaldi Bieber. You were right. Game 3 is Johnson Carrasco, and game 4 is Price and Pluto.
Okay.
And in game 1, I mean that's 2 recent Cy Young winners squaring off, and Porcello, other than any start against Toronto, has usually been pretty stout. So
nails.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing for me here, regardless of who is starting, is we need this lineup to hit because they didn't hit very much against the Phillies. We had a 2-1 win.
I was just about to say that, too.
Yeah, we had a 2-1 win in the first game of this recent set, and then did we only score 1 run the night after? Or did we get shut out? I don't remember. But it wasn't a good series offensively.
In the Phillies, we scored 1, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're definitely going to have to hit because none of these starters have wins as in the postseason. So they're going to need some run support, and to me that starts tomorrow night. And Kluber, how's he been lately? Let's see his last 3 right here. Yeah, my computer's taking forever.
It's Kluber. In August, he has a .78 WHIP and a 1.96 ERA.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm showing.
Pretty good.
2-0.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're catching him at a time where he's basically in postseason form. So